Well, here we go again.
Richard Lucas! There he is again. Same man, same year.
Hey. Can you go back to your own side, please?
Police!
Please, can you get him back to your
Richard
own side,
Lucas can fuck off because he's a crystal fascist and he isn't welcome. Fuck off! Fuck off!
Will you please go back to your side of the road? Will you please go back to your side of the road? We're not engaging with you. Back to your side of the road. We're not engaging with you.
Don't behave yourself, Mr. Lucas, please. Nobody's interested in the content you're creating.
He's coming.
He's coming along filming, he's trying to make content, he's trying to make money
But there's
off
been
of
people,
this.
okay, there's been people coming up and down filming all day.
That's fine. This
Okay.
is Richard Lucas of the Family Party. He's well known for it.
Okay.
Putting crap online about and harassing youngsters.
But there's also been people from both sides walking up and down filming all day, so there's no difference to him doing it to anyone else.
Well, that's
doing it,
fine. Well, there's no problem with us standing in front walking his camera then, yeah?
Right, yep.
No.
Yeah, no problem.
No,
Okay.
as long as there's no
Well,
flashback.
that's fine.
Sorry. Walking along the street a minute ago, and I'm sure that's not okay, is it?
No, you can't block someone from walking along the street.
I wasn't blocking him. I was actually kind of, just kind of like telling him we know who you are.
Okay.
You're Richard Lucas, ex-UKIP.
I already know.
Scottish Family Party.
Interesting what we're after.
I already know
Excuse
who I
us.
am.
Have
I was
this.
just filming it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He's
do you want to head along?
He's creating content. He's creating content to make money out of an unfortunate situation. That's right.
Not blocking him, we're just walking with him. Just walking with you, Mr. Lucas. This is Scottish Family Party. This guy, the Scottish Family Party, he's against human rights in Scotland. Scottish Family Party walking here. Off you go to your side of the road.
So at Spuck's pro-life chain in Edinburgh a couple of weeks ago, we were on one side of the road and there were some counter-protesters on the other side of the road, of Lothian Road. And what I've normally done is go over and film the counter-protesters just so I can make a video and look at some of the placards and just see who's there. We normally got one or two from the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. These blokes are dressed up as nuns to mock Catholicism and sexual purity. Last year we had the Scottish Communist Party on the other side of the road. So I just went over to have a walk along and film the row of counter-protesters and see what it was all about. And it was quite interesting. There was a placard that said trans Christians against fascism. I mean, where'd you start with that one? Resist transphobia. Again, what transphobia has got to do with this, I really don't know. We had the socialist worker there with their stall. There was a sign, probably you saw it, said, people without abortion rights are livestock. And I don't even know where to start with that. People without abortion rights are livestock, like kept in an enclosure and chopped up for meat. I mean, I don't know where to start. Another sign said, motherhood should be a choice, not a punishment. How about that? The idea that's, I guess the idea is like motherhood's a punishment for having sex, so you shouldn't have to have the punishment. I mean, again, where'd you start? I mean, it's just, yeah, what are they thinking? I know the clue you get that if you don't like abortion, don't have one, which is equivalent to saying, okay, if you don't like slavery, just don't have a slave. But don't infringe on other people's rights to have a slave. Abortion is healthcare, yeah. The only form of healthcare that's got no demonstrable benefit for the recipient. And so I walked along, I didn't interact with anyone, just walked along with my phone filming. And then a few people recognised me and then started shouting things out. I just carried on walking, but then 3 or 4 people came out sticking placards in my face, blocked my way. Someone tried to take my phone off me. They were being pretty aggressive. I think in legal terms this would be what would be classed as harassment or intimidation. And they started shouting for the police to come over. There was a couple of police officers at the end of the road and they said, do you realise this is Richard Lucas here? It was as if they thought that would be enough for the police to come and swoop in and drag me away in handcuffs. But it's Richard Lucas, that prime suspect, the most wanted criminal, Richard Lucas. We've actually found him. We've identified him for you. All you need to do now, police, is come and get him. I mean, just how bizarre. And I've mentioned this before, people really do assume that. I think the police in Scotland are so politicised, they go so heavily into their pride marches, etc., 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 is they make it clear that the police are on the progressive liberal end of the political spectrum. That's what they align themselves with. So people who agree with them, they assume the police are on their side, and therefore the police will swing into action to deal with anyone who disagrees with those viewpoints. So again, these people really did think that the fact that I'm Richard Lucas from the Scottish Family Party was going to be sufficient grounds for the police to come and say, you can't walk along the pavement filming these people at a public event. And then the other aspect of it is they're convinced that there must be some law or other that's on their side and that I'm breaking. So they're not quite sure what that law is, but there must be something that police can intervene with to prevent someone like me walking along filming a public event. So you can see as I walked along there, I got an obscene gesture or two. Someone called out there was a Christo-fascist. I mean, again, it's just, where do you even start answering that? And you can't even begin to answer it. It's just so ridiculous. But what is interesting in these situations is you get that sort of behaviour going on, really totally out of order behaviour, and no one in the wider protest on that side of the road, no one called it out. No one's saying, no, you can't do that. Come on, calm down, people. You can't treat someone like that. No, come on, come back into the line. Not a bit of it. It's like this. It's the mob mentality. If that happened on the other side of the road, I can't imagine that it would. But if a person or two on the in the pro-life chain flared up and started shouting and being intimidating to someone in front of them, there'd be lots of other people saying, no, come on, we don't do that, come back in line. But you don't get that on the other side at all. Now, I obviously realise that we've got to bear in mind that often these outdoor events, the people who make the most noise or do the most outrageous things are often mentally unwell, they're disturbed in some way. I think on the abortion issue as well, I think the absolute rage that often comes out has its root in guilt. And people could say as well, you can't judge the pro-abortion movement by these people. These are just the extremists. This is the lunatic fringe. Well, I guess on the pro-life side of the road as well, in a sense, they're the extremists as well. They're the people who will bother getting up on a Saturday morning and going out for a couple of hours and standing there with a placard. So these are, the equivalent representatives of their respective movements. Now, so as I went along that, I was taunted and provoked, and this happens again and again and again at this sort of events. It happens to me, it happens to people from the Scottish Family Party. And it's also always the same, that if the media report on an event, they will never reference it. They will always make sure, somehow or other, conjuring a story out of nothing, that it's somehow the pro-life people or it's the Scottish Family Party people who are the baddies who've caused the problem one way or another. I was thinking about this morning. If I stood outside the Scottish Parliament with a pro-life placard and someone came along and punched me in the face and gave me a bleeding nose and I fell down unconscious in front of the Parliament with blood pouring from my face, the headline in the Daily Record the next day will be SFP leader smears blood in front of Parliament in gruesome anti-abortion protest. It really is that bad. So what does this say about the abortion debate? Well, it's tempting to make the appeal to virtue, which is a logical fallacy. The appeal to virtue is to say we must be right because we're nicer people, we're better people. It's a logical fallacy. Nasty people can be right. Equally, the sort of converse fallacy would be to say they're very unpleasant people, so they must be wrong. But again, that's not logical. Very unpleasant people can actually be right. So you can't really make much of this logically, but I would say I'm happy to be on the dignified, reasonable and respectful side. It doesn't take incredible saintliness just to behave decently and in a civilised manner, but I'm glad that the campaign that I'm involved in is able to do that. Right, the next time we're going to be out and about is on the 13th of May in front of the Scottish Parliament. It's the day when assisted suicide is going to be voted on, debated and voted on. So we're going to be outside with placards. There'll probably be media around. If you want to join us, you'll be very welcome to join us between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Tuesday the 13th of May in front of the Scottish Parliament. And that's just one of many events we've got coming up, so do come along to any of these. Stirling, 7th of May, Irvine, Larkhall, Glasgow, Perth, Stonehouse, Livingston, Falkirk, Edinburgh, lots of things going on. Look at our social media. It would be great to see you in any of those locations. So, thanks for watching.